Throughout the country's history, Cambodians say they never ran. Instead, they stayed and fought. That was until the 70s, when Cambodians left en masse. First after the American-backed coup in 1970, and then finally and most dramatically ahead of the Vietnamese invasion in 1978. The lucky ones ended up overseas or in camps like this on the Thai border. There they were controlled and exploited by the factions which managed each camp. Site 2, for example, by the Khmer People's National Liberation Front, and Site 8, the Party of Democratic Kampuchea, or the Khmer Rouge. Even here, the West and the countries of ASEAN played out the dying days of the Cold War, funneling food and equipment and training to the respective factional armies, fighting first against the Vietnamese and then their surrogate State of Cambodia army under Prime Minister Hun Sen. And so it was that 2 years ago, Dateline filmed in Site 2, where people were just beginning to hope that camp life was not forever.
There is a longing for their country. You only need here to produce a picture of a peaceful rural scene with a couple of water pots and a few geese and a lot of sugar palms, and everybody wants to go to Cambodia immediately. They long for their country.
A lot has happened since then. The Paris Peace Accords were signed, the refugees were repatriated, the elections were held, albeit without the Khmer Rouge, and now an interim coalition government rules while the constitution is written. 2 years ago, Talika Ta, a refugee in Site 2, was afraid of the political hardliners in Phnom Penh. Why did you come here?
I hate communism.
You hate communism?
Yeah.
So you came to escape that?
Yeah.
Are you afraid of the people in Phnom Penh? The government there, the people there?
Yes. If our family get there first, I feel afraid the government and the authority of Phnom Penh regime.
What, do you think they'll put you in prison? Despite much political intimidation by the Phnom Penh government before the election, they did not put Talika in prison. Instead, he landed on his feet. A temporary job in town as a councillor and a house a good couple of hours by motorbike outside the western regional capital, Battambang. Because of his job, Talika spends most of his time here in Battambang. In the last 10 months, he's only been home to his family 7 times. But according to Sister Joan Healy, he's one of the lucky ones. Sister Joan made the trip to Cambodia with those she'd worked with in Site 2.
He was one of the fortunate ones who had a skill that was needed, because he was a counsellor, and counsellors, social workers are very much needed and accepted because those skills were not around, and they're needed right now. So he has a job, but like some of the most able, the job is likely to end very soon. The job is likely to end when UNTAC leave, and this is so with a lot of educated people. So they begin again to be anxious that their security is short-lived.
Talika has other reasons to be concerned about his family's security. His house is in the village of Balang Krom, near Bavel, northwest of Battambang. It's close to the front line between the Khmer Rouge and the State of Cambodia Army. This area is regularly shelled and sees a lot of Khmer Rouge activity. Because he goes home so infrequently, he takes little luxuries back to his wife. Bottled water, for example, is invaluable for mixing up milk powder. In fact, 2 years ago, their little boy was just a babe in arms when Talika's wife told us about her fears of returning. Today she's happy, if a little disappointed, about the size of the house. While Talika works, at least for the moment, with the United Nations, his wife tends the garden and sells the produce at the market. If you lost your job, could you survive on this garden, growing vegetables and fruit for the market?
Yeah. If I have no job, I try to do my farm. Yeah. And some fishing.
Ah, fishing.
Yeah, fishing.
And while it seems the epitome of Arcadian bliss, the repatriation wasn't easy.
Yeah, it's difficult for me. When I travel back from the camp to the new land that I have never seen before, yeah, it's very difficult. But I have ability to take the money from option E that UNHCR provide. Yeah, I can buy the land and the house.
Do you believe the UNHCR gave you enough resources to settle back into your own country?
I think it's not enough money. Not enough.
Are there many people who are worse off than you?
Yeah, I see many people. Because they have no relative. Yeah, they have no sponsor in Cambodia. Yeah, they have no land and they have no job to do. Yeah.
The hardship has been compounded by the end of the rice ration provided by the UN for 400 days after repatriation. For many, the 400 days have passed and they're left with nothing. But it wasn't rice, but security, particularly security after the election, which worried Talika's family.
ក្នុងពេលហ្នឹងឮតាគេថាដែរមិនដឹងពីណាពីណីគេថាហ្នឹងប៉ុន្តែឮទាំងអស់គ្នាហ្នឹងខ្លាចលោកមានសង្គ្រាមដឹងសង្គ្រាមពីណាខ្ញុំអត់ដឹងដែរបើចេះភ័យទៅ
Coincidentally, just before Talika and his wife went off to vote, the shelling could be heard quite clearly. But like so many Cambodians, they weren't put off voting for the first time. For Talika, it was the culmination of all that he'd hoped for.
I never done it before. Just the first time for me.
Well, what did you think? What was voting like?
Yeah, I feel happy.
Why?
Because I have a right to choose my government, the good government, to lead Cambodian people.
Voting for many Cambodians became a symbol of their freedom, no matter how precarious.
I do think there is still a difficult time ahead. In reality, there is war now, and I can't see it stopping quickly, and maybe the danger is greater one way or another way, but the Cambodians themselves are survivors. They know that there is still suffering to come. You know, if you think of Pol Pot times and what was really happening in those years,